Welcome to my home. Won't you join me in your favorite drink? Pull up a chair as I share with you today's true tale of the paranormal. Today, I have brand new experiences that just happened to me. Strange things happen in October, and it's because the veil between this world and the next is thinning. And the reason the veil is thinning is because of the end of October, beginning of November, is that time of year when many cultures celebrate their ancestors. They pay homage to their beloved dead. And we have Dia de los Muertos in Mexico, where my family's from. You've got Celtic pagan festivals honoring the dead in Western Europe. And throughout the Caribbean, there are ancestor festivals going on at that time of year. And the reason is because the seasons are shifting. You're in the Western Hemisphere, you're shifting from the warmth of the summer, the warmth of the sun, to the cool of autumn. And it's when lunar energy becomes dominant while the solar energy kind of goes a little bit on hiatus. So with that big shift in the seasons comes a shift in the energies. And portals really react to that. Portals really, they expand, they become much more accessible, and it makes it much easier for those who are on the other side to cross over into our world. And that's what's been happening these past few days around here. I have to tell you, I'm coming out of my chiropractor's. This was on Friday. Today is Tuesday. His office, it's on a very busy street here in my town, and it's right at a light, at a cross light. And the cross street is residential, so it's very, very quiet. Hardly any cars take that side street by his office, but they're all on the main drag that his office faces, okay? So it's very high traffic there, 45-mile-an-hour speed limit. It's Texas, everyone does 50, 60, very busy, right? Parking lot's really small. In the front of the building, there's only space for about maybe 15 cars, and I'm parked just to the left of the door. I orient myself, and I start walking toward my car, and I see this little old lady. And I'm parked next to another car. She's standing between my car and the car next to me. And she's kind of leaning on the car that's next to mine, and she's got one hand on the driver's window. She has her right hand on the back window, and she's kind of leaning like she's trying to look into the car, and I can tell from where I'm at that the car is empty. And I'm thinking, my first thought was, oh no, did she get out of her house? Does she have Alzheimer's and she lives on the residential street here? My first thought, because my husband, he owns an Always Best Care franchise, and he provides in-home care for seniors to keep them in their homes for as long as possible, And so, we always think along those lines. And so I'm thinking, that's got to be what this is, because she looked confused, and she was kind of turning her head this way and that, but she kept her hands on those windows, And so I take a couple of steps toward her, and I'm going to ask her if I can help her. Suddenly she's not there. And I'm standing here in the middle of the driveway, in the middle of the parking lot with a car pulling in, and I'm just like, I'm frozen. I can't move. I saw a full body, solid apparition. And I mean solid. There was nothing transparent about this woman. She looked completely three-dimensional. I couldn't see through any part of her body. She looked like she was really there. She was actually touching the windows on this car. And I'm just like, I couldn't move. And the only other time I've ever seen a ghost is here on my channel. It's like the first video. I will link to it below, that story. So and that wasn't even a full body apparition. That was like from the waist up. So this was a full body, solid apparition. Nothing ghostly about her at all. And I'm just standing there trying to catch my breath, and this car that pulled in is just kind of sitting there. And this guy, he presses the button, his power window comes down, and kind of halfway sticks his head out. He's like, ma'am. Are you all right, ma'am? I look at him, I'm like, yeah, thank you, sorry. And I move out of his way and he pulls in and he parks. And I get in my car and I just sit there in the AC for like a good 5 minutes without moving. Because I was like, I can't drive right now. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, CarPlay, Paul McCartney, my favorite singer, listen to him when I'm upset. I'm freaking out right now. Let's turn on Paul. So I'm sitting there listening to Paul and just trying to get my head around what just the freak happened. And I wouldn't think it would have been so bizarre had she been kind of transparent. Had there been some sort of clue that, hey, this woman I'm looking at is a ghost. I had no clue whatsoever. None. I was going to walk up to her, ask her if she needed help, and then I would have taken it from there. Took one step and the woman was just gone. She didn't fade away. She didn't like get all fuzzy or out of focus or nothing like that. No, she just boom, just gone. Like somebody just flipped a switch. Old lady on, old lady off. And I'm just like, what in the hell? And I'm sitting there in my car, and I'm taking deep breaths. I'm like, it's going to be okay. It's October. It's the veil. And I know this. It happens every year without fail. That rhymes. It's the veil. It happens every year without fail. There you go. And I'm still kind of freaked out about it. I just got back from another appointment, and this happened to me on Friday. It is now Tuesday. I just got back from my Tuesday appointment. And when I pulled into the parking lot, right away, I'm looking for her. I'm like, is she here? And I pulled into the same parking space I had when I saw her. And I didn't realize that till I'm halfway between my car and the building. And I'm like, oh shit. So I go in and I'm like, okay, note to self, when you come out, have your phone out, have the camera ready just in case. And I did. I had my phone out. I had the camera on. I was recording and there was nothing. So I guess it was just a fluke. But I really wonder if she is the spirit of an old lady with Alzheimer's who did live on that side street, who got out of her house one day. Because chiropractic office, it's been there for 2 generations now. It was originally, it was the one doctor, and then his son came and took it over. So, and we've lived in this house for 20 years. I've driven past this office often the past 20 years. It's always been there. Or maybe it was a former patient. I don't know. All I know is that it was a ghost. I saw it and she was solid as you and I. So what do you think of that? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Moving on. We live in a 2-story home. We are the original owners of this home. No one's owned this home before us. We bought it newly built. The land here used to be a pine forest. Now, other than animals, I don't know if the local indigenous inhabitants were active in this particular area or not. I tend to think not, just because I've never heard anything about it. I've heard about, early settlers coming to this part of Texas. Nothing about the local natives here and any interactions. So I'm not sure what was going on here prior to the coming of the Europeans. But, like I said, our home is brand new. It's 20 years old. And I'm sitting here, and now it's Saturday, okay? And I'm sitting in the breakfast nook downstairs, having my morning coffee and breakfast, and watching a video on YouTube. Just sitting there, enjoying my morning, enjoying a really good cup of coffee. And all of a sudden, I hear, and that's the sound that the tile makes in the upstairs master bathroom when someone's walking from the bedroom end of the bathroom toward the closet, which is on the opposite end of the bathroom. this stretch of tile, the house has settled over the years. And so this particular stretch of tile, it's very creaky. And you can hear it through the whole house when someone's walking across. And actually, I'm sitting in my dining room here, and the master bathroom is directly above me. So I'm in the breakfast nook, which is just a bit further down. And I'm hearing this, right? And I'm thinking, oh yeah, it's Stuart. He got out of the shower and I was going to the closet to get his clothes. That's exactly what it sounded like. So I'm sipping my coffee and I'm having my taquito, and suddenly I'm like, wait a minute. Stuart has a meeting with a prospect for his business this morning. He's not home. So then I yell out, magic, magic, get out of the bathroom, come downstairs. Because I think, the dog's up there. And she is an Australian Shepherd. She weighs 50 pounds. And she is heavy enough to make those tiles creak. I've heard her up there before. And I just yell at her to come down. And she comes running downstairs. No dog. And I'm yelling again, magic, magic, get downstairs right now. And then all of a sudden I just go like this. She's laying on the floor to my left. And I'm looking at her down there on the floor. I'm like, oh shit. And so I'm like, okay, there's no one up there. We do have a cat. She only weighs 7 pounds. She's what the vet calls a petite. She never fully grew. And so she's not heavy enough to make any noise. You never hear her coming or going. And so I'm just sitting there, gripping my coffee cup, and I'm like, okay, what was that? I don't know. My first thought is that perhaps what's going on here in my home is we are creating our own residual hauntings, even though we're not dead yet. There's a theory behind residual hauntings. Residual hauntings, that's when an event from the past repeats at certain times. And the theory is that the atmospheric conditions have to be exactly perfect for this event to reoccur. And the reason it reoccurs is because the building itself, in some way, has made a recording of this event, but it will only play back when certain conditions are met. And so I was thinking, that's a residual haunting. That's Stuart coming out of the shower and walking over to the master closet, because I've heard that, thousands of times now, and that's what it was. That's definitely what the sound was. And so when Stuart came home, I'm like, hey, guess what? You're haunting your own house. Did you know that? And he's like, what? And on that note, another thing that happens in our home that is what I call a residual haunting is the garage door. And it only involves his garage door. We have a double garage, and his garage door will open in the middle of the day. You hear the noise. You can hear it through the whole house. You always hear when he's coming home. My door will open. And it just stays up. It doesn't close. He doesn't come in the house. There are no other sounds. The dog is at the garage door waiting for Stuart to walk in. So I'm not the only one who hears that garage door opening. And no one ever walks in. I go to open the interior garage door, it leads from the house into the garage, to look out there. The garage is empty. The door is down. And I cannot tell you how many times that's happened. And it's happened to me in magic. When my daughter used to live here, she's grown now, married, out of the house. She and I would hear it. I don't know. It's like the house has made these recordings, and every once in a while, it just plays them back. And that's the reason why in many hauntings, paranormal investigators never get an intelligent response from the spirit, because it's not actually a spirit. It's just the location replaying a psychic recording of a past event. So there you go. So that's what's been going on with me this week. What's been going on with you? Have you experienced anything weird? Keep your eyes and ears peeled because, like I said, the veil is thinning. It's going to be super thin come Halloween, Samhain. So pay attention. Have your cameras ready to catch anything weird. And if you do, feel free to email me. I'm at truetalesoftheparanormal@gmail.com. And you can also always drop a comment. Let me know if anything weird has happened. Or during past Octobers, you know, the veil thins every year like clockwork. If you've experienced anything weird, drop a comment. Let us all know. I'm sure others would love to know as well. And thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed what you've seen here today, I ask that you hit the like button, subscribe, and above all, drop a comment. The more comments my video gets underneath it, the more people the YouTube algorithm will show it to, and it'll come up in YouTube recommendations. And I deeply appreciate that. I get some really good percentage viewers from YouTube recommendations, and that's due to the comments you are leaving. So thank you so much. Well, on to the next, and I will catch you all next week. This has been Nefer Kefri, your hostess with the ghostess, and you've been watching True Tales of the Paranormal. See you next time. That's good.